Okay, people, what's going on? I've put in 15 hours to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, so at this point, I feel like I've played enough to give a first impression. Not a review, not a review, you morons on Twitter, but a first impression. Now, this game is way different than any other Zelda game. That's not a bad thing. It's not always a good thing, but it's definitely not a bad thing. I mean, I enjoy the open world, I enjoy the exploration, I enjoy the whole game not being on a linear rail. I enjoy being able to do what I want to do and to go, for the most part, where I want to go. It's cool. I like it. I enjoy it. One thing I did find funny is I had Zobi's dumbass talking about how Nintendo games don't rely on voice acting because voice acting is lazy. Then he had another thing saying that Nintendo games don't rely on text. And yet here I'm thinking, wait, did we not just play through 3 Metroid Primes with the scan visor and the scan log when the whole entire damn game was told through text? Come to find out, I'm playing this game and lo and behold, what do I see? More text. So how Zobi's fraud ass is talking about how Nintendo games don't use text is, well, beyond me. So, continuing on, I'm off the plateau. I bought the stealth armor. I've ridden horses. It's pretty cool that you can get horses, you can go to a stable. The economy is kind of weird because I was wondering, like, eventually I'm going to run to towns or villages or a shopkeeper, but like 5 hours in, I never seen 1 rupee. And then I open a chest, I'm like, 50 rupees. And I'm like, well, that definitely means I'm going to be buying things. So when I got to the shop at Kakariko Village, I just sold a bunch of those machine parts, bought the whole stealth outfit, the whole stealth gear, and that gear's pretty damn good. I mean, what can I say? You can pretty much creep up on people, backstab them, and be unnoticed. I mean, it's way more expensive than the other gear, but it's good. Now we have the whole cooking thing, the whole mixing of herbs to make elixirs. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was talking about The Witcher for a second there, but this game also has elements of The Witcher where you can brew potions, elixirs, combine things, and cook things, and you can then eat them and use them to get special benefits without increasing toxicity. Interesting. Now, the combat. I like the combat, and I don't like the combat. I don't think it's smooth sometimes with the way Link sidesteps and backflips, because I remember on the N64 it just was like smooth, and this is kind of like it's responsive, but I feel like it's kind of sloppy. And the only real thing you can do is time a dodge left, right, or back, and then hit him with a flurry. It's kind of like one dimensional in swordplay aspects, but it's pretty cool because you definitely can't rush or run into any fight because you will get served, you will get killed. So there's plenty of different weapons from claymores, the spears, the shields, to bones and other extremities that you can use to attack people, arrows and everything. I had to turn motion control off because I was wondering why my arrows were not aiming properly. I thought that the tablet was broken at first, but then I realized, oh, it's probably motion control. Boom, there we go. So, yeah, you can headshot people, you can sneak around, you can get behind people, you can backstab. The controls are a little convoluted. It's kind of like too much at once right away. But then again, I'm hoping I'll get used to it. And by what I mean as too much at once is you pretty much get everything at the beginning that you can do, which is pretty cool because you can go into those little challenge areas to get the little token things that you can trade for of to either get a heart or to upgrade stamina. And I'll get to my complaints about stamina later. But damn, lost my train of thought right there. We're at stamina, weapons. Anyway, we'll just move on. So yeah, the fighting is pretty much okay, but I kind of think it's one-dimensional. But again, you can't just rush into everything. Sometimes different weapons and different things work on different enemies. The weapon breaking, I have a huge issue with the weapon breaking. I've been in fights where I'm up against 5 goblins or moblins, which, come on, you need kind of like a little more enemy diversity in the beginning, but it is what it is. And I go through 3 and sometimes even 4 weapons in one battle. It's like, okay, I understand weapons can degrade and break, but weapon degradation should be multiplied by 3 or divided by 3, increasing durability by 3, because it's just ridiculous that literally after a few fights a weapon is broken. Now it's pretty cool. I learned last night that you can surf on your shield, and that's pretty cool. Until then I realized that I pretty much crippled one of my best shields because surfing on a shield damages it. It's like every item in this game is a throwaway item, and if you have something really cool, I guess you have to farm for it. There's no like treasure chest that I've found yet that you can store items you might want to use or hold on to later, which would be a pretty nifty feature. I mean, swords break, shields break. I mean, bow and arrows break. I'm like, how? Like, everything is made out of, like, I have no idea. It's made out of garbage. That's what every piece of equipment in this game is made out of. The hang gliding or the parasail gliding or whatever it is, you jump and you hold Y and you pull out the little chute. That's pretty cool. You can go around the land, things like that. Horses are okay. Mine is disobedient and doesn't work properly, but I assume that's because I'm in the beginning of the game and you can buy more responsive horses or find more responsive horses than your run-of-the-mill crappy one. The powers are pretty cool. I mean, you can make the ice pillars, the magnetizing, the bombs, the remote bombs. One thing I want to know is who would ever throw a regular bomb when the remote bombs are like more, I don't know, they're more stationary? Who knows? Don't really know. Don't really care. You will die really quickly if you get hit in this game, so you might want to upgrade those hearts or make defensive potions. That whole thing in the beginning where you want to run through the cold and everything like that, I did not brew any spicy peppers to keep me warm. I literally lit a torch or just picked up a bunch of apples and ran around while eating to replenish my health. The challenge towers are pretty cool. I mean, you climb them, but the frustrating part about climbing these giant towers, a la Far Cry, is the rain. And the rain is cool. It looks cool and it's like nice and everything, but hear me out here. The stamina thing is like the most double-edged blade in game design. I like equate it to tripping in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Climbing, stamina. Running, stamina. Swimming, stamina. You will drown in a half a foot of water if you run out of stamina. If you climb something high and you fall off and you run out of stamina and you hit water, you will die. Using your hang glider causes stamina. So if you fall off a high place because of stamina and you drop, you can't always open your chute and you're dead. You can't run for long periods of time because of stamina. You crawl super slow up wall. It's like they should have increased the climb speed by 3 and increased the stamina reduction by 3 because the whole process of climbing things is just so slow. And then you have the rain. The rain, the weather, the thunder, you know, it's dynamic weather, which is cool. But unfortunately, you cannot climb when it's raining. So I spent a half an hour clearing this one tower, which had beast-ass enemies. It was pretty ridiculous. I had to get through because there were mages, there were electricity, there were things in the water shooting things at me. And when I wanted to climb the thing, after everything was cleared, I can't climb because it's raining. So I wait 5 minutes, it's still raining. I wait 10 minutes, it's still raining. I wait 30 minutes, it's still raining. I'm watching the NBA game like, bro, like, am I going to be able to climb this tonight or like what? So I know there's gear and stuff that will probably make it easier for you to climb, but I unfortunately don't have that yet. So the remedy of that is you have to save the game and then load the game. Because when you load a game, the weather is perfect. I mean, the whole weather thing is just absolutely, it's insane. You barely have enough stamina to climb from section to section to section up these giant ass towers. When the rain is involved, you can't do anything. You can't do anything. You will spend half your time playing this game with Link hunched over Where's your games, man? You're the hero of time. Yet you get tired on a little tiny sprint. You get tired jumping. You get tired climbing. You get tired swimming. You are the hero of time. No wonder you got put down so easily. Hit the gym. Where are your gains at? Where's your cardio? Like, come on. Now, I know it probably sounds like I'm crapping on the game, but this game is a very good game. I was playing it until 3 in the morning last night. I was super tired at work this morning. As soon as I'm done this video and I upload it, I'm going to go back and play the game. But this game is good, and while it's very good, it just has so many little annoyances currently, at least in the beginning of the game, that pile up into something large and significant that unfortunately do not allow me to enjoy this game as much as I should be or could be right now. For example, the stamina. I cannot stand the stamina bar, but I understand it's early in the game. As my character gets stronger, better equipment, better stamina increases like that, that may not be a problem. The drowning. Stupid. I mean, I can't even walk in water. Or if I have no stamina, you just drown instantly, no matter where you're at in the water. And I understand, maybe I can get Zora flippers or, equipment that can remedy that. The climbing speed is super duper slow. And, I understand, maybe I'll find equipment that'll allow me to climb faster. Can't climb in the rain. And you know what? That's a huge problem. And it's a waste of time. Thank God I found a way to save the game and load the game, because I am not waiting around a half an hour to climb a tower that I just cleared. But eventually, hopefully, again, it's early in the game. I may not have, but hopefully there's something that, that'll enable me to climb in bad weather. Now, there are some extra nice little touches of the game. Like, if you're running in a thunder field and you have a giant metal thing, you'll get struck by lightning. If you stab an electric enemy with electricity with a metal weapon, you're going to get shocked. You need to use like a wooden spear or something non-conductive. Surfing on your shield is pretty cool. Like the whole horses things is pretty cool. The bow and arrows, like different powers of like magnets and stasis and ice things. All that stuff is cool. But it's got a lot of detractions early in the game for it. And let's talk about the biggest attraction. The primary reason why Nintendo needs to either A, make a stronger piece of hardware, or B, go third party and make games on a stronger piece of hardware. The frame rate in this game is just absolutely horrific. Atrocious. Unacceptable. I mean, it's bad enough that it's 30, but you get into fights, you walk into woods, you walk into dense forests with dense foliage, it drops down into the 20s and it chugs. It runs terrible. And that is not acceptable to me. 30 frames is not playable. 20 frames is just makes me want to turn the game off. And people may be asking me, is this game as good as The Witcher? Is this game close to The Witcher? And the answer is no. Purely based off the fact that a game with marring performance issues versus a game that runs at 60 frames, it's like you cannot even compare them. Now, if this game comes out in Simu, like perfect in all of its glory, I could run the game at 1080p plus and 60 frames per second. Maybe then I can make a comparison, but right now, like, what happened? How did this game get all 10s and like the highest rated game across the board when something as simply as fundamental performance is such a huge issue? And for anybody to even cry and complain saying that, oh, you're just yeah, I'm a performance whore. Because higher frame rates means more consistent gameplay, means more crisp gameplay, means more crisp and functional controls and inputs. You can have your graphics, you can have your resolution, but frame rate is directly attributed to gaming, which is why I cannot stand playing anything less than 60 frames per second. And like for that reason, like at the end of the day, when I finish this game, I really can't give the game anything over an 8 because of the atrocious performance. Now, again, this game is good. If you're one of those few unlucky individuals to have a Wii U, do yourself a favor, go out, buy it, play it. If you know an unfortunate soul that has a Wii U, do yourself a favor, borrow it. Believe me, they'll let you borrow it because nobody plays Wii U's anyway. Play it. If you're one of those fools that literally went out and spent $300 on a console that has no games, well, guess what? This is probably the only and best game you can play, so go ahead and play it. But overall, 15 hours in, I am enjoying it. The issues that I have with the game, from the stamina, the swimming, the slow climb speed, the lack of stamina running, the rain, like, hopefully all these things can be remedied with equipment, because if I'm spending 60 hours into this game and they are not remedied with equipment or upgrades, I am not going to be happy. It's going to be very frustrating. I found myself very frustrated with the game at times. Frustrated by the frame rate, frustrated by Link. Between the poor frame rate and Link just, always gasping for air, being out of shape, it does get kind of annoying. The combat is good. The swordplay is fun. I prefer to use a spear and just do rapid stabs and things like that. Hopefully, more combat abilities will be opened up soon. One thing I don't like is that 15 hours in, I have not played a dungeon. And to me, in a Zelda game, while these little puzzle dungeons are cool, to not have played a fully featured Zelda-designed dungeon, Zelda-designed dungeon, what the hell's a lungeon anyway? That was the main focal point of every Zelda game. And for there not to be any dungeons and any massive, awesome layers to jump into, it's kind of disappointing. And I want that, so I'm hoping, when I find one of these 4 mystical beasts, what I'm dubbing as one of these 4 Megazords, maybe then I'll have like a giant layer or a dungeon to explore or something like that. So, again, this game. Oh, one more thing, the boomerang. I picked up a boomerang, right? And I threw this boomerang, thinking that it would automatically come back to me. No, it doesn't. So I picked it up and threw it 3 times. On the 3rd time, I realized that, you have to hit the A button to catch it. Yeah, you have to manually catch your boomerang. Problem was, when I threw the boomerang the 3rd time, I was back facing a river. So my boomerang missed me and flew into the river. And I have not found one since, and that boomerang is long gone, because had I gone after, I probably would have drowned, because Link cannot swim. He's out of shape. He's lazy. We need to, get to the gym, get some gains, get some cardio. So, these are my first impressions, 15 hours in. I do have some gripes. I do have some complaints. The game overall is good. Hopefully, one day, hopefully soon, we can get a proper 1080p 60 frames per second version of this game, because sadly Nintendo releases feeble consoles that can't even run last generation games at 60 frames per second. I know, it's unfortunate, sad, and pathetic, but it is what it is. So again, these are my first impressions. As of right now, I would highly recommend anybody to buy and play this game, but at the same time realize that it does come with its shortcomings. It does come with its annoyances. It does come with annoyances that do stack up and compound into a significant annoyance that just becomes agitating. This game is not perfect 10s across the board. This game is not a 98% on Metacritic as of these first impressions, but again, I would recommend it to anybody who's trying to buy a good game. And right now we have a lot of good RPGs. I mean, we have Horizon Zero Dawn, that new Torment game, Zelda, Mass Effect is coming out. A lot of good RPGs coming out. So I'm going to get back to the Zelda game. You guys take it easy, and y'all enjoy your night.